welcome to our World Holiday Spectacular cruise aboard the Regent 7 Seas Voyager. This time we're going to spend a day in Walvis Bay, Namibia, and then spend a day in Cape Town, where we will disembark and spend another 3 days in Cape Town, enjoying what that city and the area has to offer. Our 23rd day of cruising found us docking in Walvis Bay, Namibia. Namibia, officially the Republic of Namibia, is a country in southwestern Africa and covers an area of 318,772 square miles or 825,615 square kilometers. Namibia is the driest country in sub-Saharan Africa and has been inhabited since prehistoric times by several of the indigenous peoples. English is the official language of the population of around 3,022,000 inhabitants. While English is the official language of Namibia, significant parts of the population speak other languages as their daily quote-unquote home language. After docking in Walvis Bay, we left the ship to find the pier dotted with bird poop from these pernicious little guys. There was no avoiding it, so we walked the pier to our bus, included excursion, moonscapes, and a Welwitsia. This excursion would take us out of Walvis Bay, the second largest city in Namibia, with a population of around 102,000. It is the largest coastal town in the country and most importantly has a deep-water protected harbor. The area was discovered by the Western world in 1485 by Portuguese navigator Dogo Cal. The city of Walvis Bay looks, well, pretty ordinary, and it is not until you get out into the desert that you discover just how extraordinary its location is. Our first stop, about 20 kilometers outside of town, was to view the scraggly Welwitsia plant that thrives in this part of the desert. According to our guide, the plants could live anywhere from 100 to 1,500 years. The plants are considered a living fossil over 100 million years old and are also valuable as a food source for desert wildlife like rhinos and gemsbok. The indigenous people also use the plant as a medicine to combat stomach problems. But my fascination was with the stark but beautiful desert landscapes. And then it was back on the bus once more and headed towards the Valley of the Moon for lunar landscapes. This is what it looks like with the color removed, and while the moon has no clouds, it certainly does resemble a real lunar landscape, as pictured in the inset. Soon enough, and we were back on the bus headed towards a real-life oasis. The oasis was a thriving business in the middle of the desert. Originally established as a ranch in 1849, it is an interesting area full of interesting things. For example, dogs that poop here end up being barbecue dogs. Little curiosities and knickknacks are everywhere, and the decorative style can best be described well as quirky. Not that I am usually a photographer of toilets, but these were kind of interesting. No, not this one. Yes, this one. Inside, it was open, airy, and very clean. The men's toilet was much the same, if decorated in a somewhat more masculine way. There were stores that featured interesting antiques and knickknacks. Everything from hundreds of t-shirts to tchotchkes to habanero sauce and other foodstuffs. Outside the stores, it was more the same. There was a full bar, restaurant, and possibly discotheque, and several of these old abandoned trucks that served as interesting seating arrangements in the restaurant. It also served as an access point for a national park. After our visit, it was back on the bus trying to cool off and making our way once more through the desert. Back in Walvis Bay, it was just another day with people going about their business in the usual way. Our friends visited flamingo villas at the same time we were out and caught these interesting pictures of, well, flamingos. Here's a nice shot with the ship in the background. Well, what did we think of this excursion? Well, it was included, so that was a good price. Our tour guide was excellent, and while the visit to the plant in the desert was a bit long, everything else seemed appropriately scaled. From there, it was back to the ship, a quick check-in, and we went up to the top deck for a look around. It was here that we found probably the largest refueling or bunkering ship that we had ever seen pulled up beside the Voyager. It was almost as long as the Voyager, but not quite, and was even mentioned by the captain later on that it was the largest that he had ever seen next to the Voyager. As we gazed out over the bay, we saw several seals playing in the water nearby the ships. Saying goodbye to the seals, it was time to sail away. And we passed an island pointed out by the captain that held thousands of seals. Please excuse the poor imagery, as this was shot with the digital zoom of my iPhone. We headed into dinner at Compass Rose with somewhat heavy seas. Check out our dining and drink guide for a full review on what happened this night and with the other venues aboard the Seven Seas Voyager. This was the night that I tried out Gemsbach, an antelope and local source of protein. It certainly looked good, but it was so tough. How tough was it? Well, I could barely cut through it, and I certainly could not chew it. I sent it back, and when it returned, it was much, much better and tasty and edible. We finished up with a creme brulee and a piece of cheesecake. That night in the Constellation Theater, we had one of the production cast presenting a solo show. Regent does not allow any sort of recording during these shows, so I'm sorry, I have nothing to give you. The next day, and it was another lazy day at sea, en route to our final destination of Cape Town, South Africa. Today the seas brought us a bit of fog and calm seas. And after frittering away the morning in the usual ways, it was time for lunch, and today again we did an African buffet. And as before, everything was good, everything was tasty, and The bobotie tea was wonderful. The carving station housed the biggest ham I had ever seen. The pasta station looked good, and Song opted for one of her favorites, the grilled sausage. And using the dullest knife possible, she attempted to carve it up and then asked, "Why are you laughing?" "Oh, I'm not laughing at you," I replied. "I'm laughing with you." A bit of dessert, and then we were on our way outside to watch a pod of dolphins playing and following along with our ship. Meanwhile, it was competitive game time again, and although I got off to a slow start, my next two were right on point. Oh, the crowd went wild. I was appropriately rewarded, and then on with our day we went. That evening, we had crew capers, which is the going away or Regent's farewell party. This is where the crew struts their stuff, dancing and singing, after speeches from cruise director Natalie and Captain Stan.
Bonsoir. Alors, finalement, tout le monde parle français, c'est tellement plus facile. No? Well, I guess you have to come back to take slightly more French lesson.
And following the entertainment, we had the obligatory crew parade. And while they can't have everybody on stage, there was certainly a good representation of everyone, including those members of the crew you don't ordinarily see.
Destinations team. Ladies and gentlemen, your bar department.
Well, after all that, it was time for, you guessed it, dinner. And dinner once more tonight was in Compass Rose. We tried the sommelier's choice for a white tonight, and it was good, and then moved to a nice red, this one from France. Tonight's menu was good, with appetizers being these hasty pasta pillows, a Pacific white sturgeon caviar on top a haddock parfait, and my choice for the evening, a very nice and tasty soft poached Japanese egg wrapped in crispy panko. Followed that up with a well done and tasty beef Wellington, while Song stuck with this rather unadorned and slightly overcooked Mediterranean sea bass. We finished off the night with a deconstructed Black Forest cake and a bit of baked Alaska. Song wanted to work off some of those calories, so off to the puzzle station we went, where she attempted to find even one that she could fit. Failing that, it was time for bed and get ready for our next day, where we would make a late landfall in Cape Town, South Africa. Well, the next morning, we still had some time at sea and eventually started approaching Cape Town a little after 2 o'clock in the afternoon. We were scheduled to dock in Cape Town around 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and that turned out to be precisely the timing. As we pulled into the harbor, we received a beautiful view of Cape Town with Table Mountain looming in the background. Once docked, and it was time for our excursion today, which was to be Sundowners on Signal Hill. It was to be a 2-hour excursion, which included a trip up to the top of Signal Hill and a panoramic drive-by of Cape Town. Driving through Cape Town, we were struck, at least by the areas we traveled through, about how clean and well-maintained the city and the buildings appeared. The mix of architecture ranged from the modern to the old in a seamless and harmonious blend. The only clue that things might not be 100% copacetic came with the sometimes extreme security measures many of the homeowners employed. Many, in fact most homes in some areas, were surrounded with both electrified fencing and passive deterrents such as spikes or glass embedded in the walls around the homes. Serious stuff. Eventually, we began our ascent of Signal Hill and arrived to find stunning views of Cape Town and nearby Table Mountain. On the other side of Signal Hill, we found great views of the coastline as it wound around Signal Hill. But that wasn't the only treat awaiting us on top of Signal Hill. There was also a very civilized spread of delicious canapes and champagne. It was all quite delicious and very satisfying. And thus fortified, I went out trying to find the perfect view, and at least found our ship docked below. Views of Table Mountain dominated the skyline, and if you were lucky enough to be on Table Mountain, you would see rivers of clouds rolling over the side of the mountain like waterfalls. So after a few more pictures and mixing with the locals, it was time for a little walk to discover what we could find. Now, I had thought from the tour description that we would witness sundown on Signal Hill, but that was not to be the case. We did get a chance for a few pictures involving the beautiful sun, and perhaps a hint of what it would look like in just a few hours, but alas, it was not to be. As we found out, sundowners refers to the idea that the locals congregate every evening on Signal Hill to witness the sun going down. We, as tourists, had to settle for almost sundown. As we boarded our bus and started to descend, there were more beautiful pictures to be had even through the bus windows as we descended Signal Hill. After descending Signal Hill, we took a slightly different route back to the ship for a view of the parks and significant beachfront of Cape Town, and to witness the interesting local vibe of the Cape Town population. So how was this excursion? Well, we found it pretty nice. It was more of a panoramic thing, except for the stop on the top of Signal Hill. It ran a little bit longer than the stated time, but we didn't mind. It was all good. We returned to the ship, made our way through the terminal, up the gangway and through the check-in to get a start on our last day aboard the Regent 7 Seas Voyager. And after one more dinner aboard the Voyager and carousing around a bit, we spent a little more time looking over the top of Cape Town, set our luggage in the hallway, and got ready to disembark the following morning. After another overnight aboard the 7 Seas Voyager, here's a quick review of the trip. Pause if you have any interest in this. But the nautical portion of our trip was 7,029 nautical miles, 13 ports of call, 12 days at sea, and a whole lot of walking involved in support of that. Regent had supplied detailed disembarkation instructions based on our individual disembarkation requirements, very clearly spelled out and easy to follow. We took time for hearty breakfast and one more chance for a little dolphin viewing from our balcony before exiting our room and awaited our call to disembark. Once we received that call, we disembarked, found our luggage in the terminal, pulled it out to our waiting bus, and began the next part of our journey, which was 3 more days in Cape Town, enjoying a post-cruise extension called Africa's Captivating Cape. Well, that's it for the cruise portion of this journey. Thank you for watching, and please like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell to be kept up to date with new videos as they drop. Check out my much neglected and maligned website, tomsmultiinterest.com. But wait, there's more. Part 7 is our 3-day extension in Cape Town called Africa's Captivating Cape. This post-cruise extension was one of the highlights of our trip, so stay tuned. Please check out some of our other videos if you have the chance. And as always, safe and happy travels from T's Cruise and Travel Muse.